Okay, we're good. All right, thanks you guys for staying. Welcome. Are we doing live stream? I think. This was supposed to happen last week, but the majority of us came back with COVID, so we were in bed last Sunday. So thanks for being flexible with us and staying today. We're really excited to show you and to tell you guys about what happened at Life. But first, we want to open up with a video. So this is the Life-produced video about the whole week. And if you look close, you'll see 4 or 5 of our kids. So enjoy the video.
To us every single day. But if we don't stand still, we're going to miss the voice of God.
The beginning of time, God intended that you be here this week. And He's not going to waste that time.
The God of this universe is inviting you into His home. And hey, bring everybody with you. Bring as many friends as you possibly can. I want you to come. I want you to be in my house.
You have been made righteous through Jesus Christ. You have been made whole in Jesus Christ. And sin no longer is your master. And today can be the start of a whole new season where we are receiving the freedom offered in Jesus Christ.
He is going to hold to His word, but He also gives us discipline, common sense, resources, intellect, drive. And He wants us to partner with Him in the story.
Generation of people who aren't defining greatness by fame, rich, power, all that stuff. They're defining greatness by taking scars, opening them, letting people see them and say, wow, and you still believe? You still have hope? You still forgive that person? There must be a God.
When the world cries out and says, where is God? That is not an indictment on God. It is an indictment on the church, the image bearers. May people see God when they see you. Christ is in you.
No. Chrissy, come on, Chrissy. I'm so loud. Yay. Thanks. You did that to yourself. Okay. Well, it was a busy week, but it was a great week. I think, so Brian went with us, and he tracked how many hours the leaders worked. And by the end of the week, all the leaders had 140 active hours with our kids. So that's a lot of hours with kids, and it was great. A lot of hours with the kids with us. I mean, they had to put up with that. We're fine though. Yeah. So a huge thanks to all the leaders who went. We definitely could not have gone or done it without you guys. It was. We had a great leadership team. It was awesome. So I am going to have I sent these kids some questions, so they're going to answer some questions. But first, does any of you want to kind of run down like the daily schedule that we had at Life so they get an idea of what we did?
Okay, so usually we would wake up really early, which was not very great. But we went to bed like sometimes at like 2 a.m. because we'd stay out in the hallway. But anyway, we'd wake up and breakfast was at 7, right? So we'd have breakfast in our hallway at 7, and then we'd go to our first session, our main session. We'd have worship and then the message, and then we'd go on to have our first seminar of the day, and then we'd have lunch, and then more free time, and then another seminar, and then I think more free time for a bit, and then our main session for the night, which was worship. Oh yeah, dinner, forgot about that one, which was dinner, then the main session, and then we had our small group time, which was really great too, and then we went to bed after a lot of free time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to talk real quick because I know you want to hear from them. There were 3 things I wanted to mention. First of all, if you're a parent or family or even the church body that prayed over this group of kids that financially helped support them, you should be so proud of these kids, all of them. Thanks to Christy, we had amazing planning and orchestration of all the different things, but there were times that we were waiting for things to happen and stuff like that, and you can imagine with 50 kids, it could have been crazy, and they were amazing. And then every night we had this get-together at the end of the night where we just talk over the day, what we had learned and stuff like that, and the conversations we had and the insight that the kids brought was just amazing. So you should be super proud of these kids. The second thing I wanted to mention was probably the highlight for me was the worship service, and you saw a bit of it in the video, but we do pretty good worship here at church, but you can imagine if like everybody just got closer and closer and closer together. I honestly think, Brian, we should consider a mosh pit like for the front area because I think that would be really good. So, but we basically started every day and we ended every evening talking or singing to Jesus. And honestly, my takeaway at one point early in the week was like, this is how it's going to be in heaven someday. It's just amazing to have 6,000 kids and plus leaders, basically shouting and singing to God, and it was amazing. The last thing I was going to say is that the message that I took away from the week, and there were some amazing speakers over the course of the week, all types of topics, and the seminars were good too. But the message I took away was that there is sin in our lives, but Jesus is also in our life, and he is far more powerful. He offers forgiveness. He offers us a way out. And one of the speakers talked about someday being there on the day of judgment. And, our sins are listed out against us. And all we have to say is, I have Jesus, right? And all those sins go away. And so I just thought that was super powerful as a really old teenager. That was a powerful message for me.
He does act like a teenager. Okay, so first I want to start off with some funny stories. So who has a story of something that made you laugh really hard on the trip? And nothing, Isabel, that is embarrassing to me. We can embarrass any other leader, just not me.
It's not you, I swear. It's not you. It's not you, okay?
You're the one I was most
It's
worried
more
about.
for Brian. The best thing that made me really laugh was when I slapped you with a tortilla and you didn't see it coming.
You're not smart, Izzy. Brian will retaliate. Yeah, we, if you've heard the tortilla challenge, and one day they served tacos with the tortillas, and I don't know how it happened, but I got one, and
Yeah, I gave you one. You were like, I really want to slap someone. So
I
got
slapped
it.
Izzy.
Yeah.
And then she went and slapped Brian, like, that wasn't smart. But it was very funny. All right, who else has something funny they want to share? Yeah.
Okay, so this is like 1:30 a.m., so we're all kind of crazy and delusional. And Izzy, well, I was with Izzy, and I started reenacting Dobby the Elf from the not Lord of the Rings. Harry Potter. And by the end, like 30 minutes into it, we like couldn't breathe because we were laughing so hard, and it was great. And then I have another one that was also really fun when Izzy, Michaela, and Elise and I were like running around in the rain, doing the rainstorm, and just exploring and like I don't know, just living our main character moment. It was awesome, frolicking in the rain. Yes.
Frolicking in the rain. I can go.
Okay, there was this room full of a bunch of like big blow up things. That's the one. Inflatables. And there was one which was like a human hungry hippos where you would like get strapped in and then throw yourself into the middle to get all the balls. Oh wait, sorry. Get all the balls. And so there was one time where me and Elena and some other people were doing it, and it was like second time doing it. And we went, and I don't know what happened, but me and Elena just started dying of laughter. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't get any of the hungry hippo balls because I was limp with laughter. And I don't know what happened, but it was so funny. That's my story.
Who else has one? Chloe, you join? Okay. She said she had one earlier.
Yeah. So I guess one of my favorite parts was like that made me laugh so hard was just like running around in the hallways like maniacs, and not not caring what people thought of us. Yeah.
The hotel staff loved us, so.
I will say this is a rabbit trail, but so there's 43,000 teenagers and 1,700 adults at Life, and not all of so 6,000 total people, 4,300 kids, 1,700 adults. Sorry, no, 43,000. Did I say that? It's fine. Not all the kids were very respectful to the staff, but our kids were great. They were very respectful. There was a time when some of the students were booing the hotel staff for telling them to calm down, and none of our kids did that. And so I'm very proud of our kids. They were very respectful. All right, any else funny things? Okay. What was your favorite part of Life? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I think a lot of people probably have a similar answer, but my favorite part was just the worship because there was like 6,000 other people in the room, and I'd like never experienced anything like that before, and it was just like this crazy feeling to be worshiping God with so many other people, and it was really, really awesome.
To add on to that, I agree. Like the worship was the best part, like by far. Some of us would go into the mosh pit, which you had no space. It was so hot, and it was really, you were basically surviving in the mosh pit. But then the worship, when we got into like the slow songs, it was like totally worth it because it was just like so powerful to be worshiping there with so many people. It was just like the coolest thing ever.
For me, once again, it was the worship, but like I felt God's presence like really deeply. Well, because the bass was really strong and like you could feel it pounding in your chest. But just the worship, like just worshiping with 6,000 different people, like you don't know who they are, but like you can just like feel like you like just each other and like just worshiping God and just like being with one.
I'd say, of course, the worship. The worship was super impactful. I also really loved the seminars. You could, choose which one you wanted to go to, and it was just so awesome being able to, just go, when you're really confused on something that's going on in society or school or something, would have a session that you could go to, and they would explain, this is the way how you're supposed to do, this is follow the Bible, not follow what society is saying. And it was just super great being able to listen to adult speakers going through the Bible and giving us good points on what to do.
I was going to say exactly that same thing. The seminars were great. A couple of them, the main session speakers for the huge group, they had their own seminars afterwards. And it was great kind of hearing, I don't know, it felt more personal with the speakers, because in the big room they're up on stage and you're far back with your church group. It's that's the guy from this big stage. And then you go to their seminar and they're right there. And it feels more kind of a conversation with them when they're speaking and sharing their message. So I thought the seminars, that was probably one of my favorite parts.
My favorite part, along with everybody else, I really did love the worship. It was very impactful, and it's super cool to see everybody with their hands up and just in the presence of God. It's super cool. But I would also say just getting to know the whole group. A lot of the people that went in our youth group, I didn't know super, super well. I knew a lot of people very well, but a lot of people I didn't know very well. And it was really cool to get to know people, have conversations with people that you don't usually have conversations with. And I really enjoyed that.
I'd have to agree with Michelle on that. Just socializing with people within our youth group in a God-centered way was really awesome. And having those Jesus conversations with fellow teens was also really encouraging, and just encouraged me to share Jesus with teenagers and not worry about the stigma and oh, they're going to think I'm weird sort of side of it. So I just loved the social part. We have a really good group, and there was just a great group of 6,000 teens there too.
My favorite part, I'm going to sum it up really short. I liked the worship just like everybody else did.
So I had two things that I was going to mention. One, over the course of the week, kind of organically, it grew out that, one, the leaders would go get these big Marriott hamburgers, which were fantastic, at 11:30 midnight, before they close. And we'd go up and sit in the hallway, and over the course of the week, the youth would come and join us. And so we had this, and we owned a whole block of rooms, so we kind of, we were being respectful to each other mostly. But we just sit along those things and talk, and Brian did some handwriting analysis and some other things like that. And it was fantastic because it was just time to chill out. We were up one night until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, just sitting out there talking. And it was just a really cool thing. The other thing I was hoping that Gavin would have mentioned, because he made me get up at 6 a.m., was the 5K run that we ran, which wasn't 5K. It was a little bit smaller than that. But you saw in the video the bright fluorescent colors. There was a ton of people out there, all running. And let me tell you that there's only a little bit of humidity in Florida, so it was a swamp fest from my shirt and everything else. But we had so much fun going out there and running at 6 a.m. So.
All right, now we're gonna get into more of the meaningful stuff. All right, I think I'll just pass the mic down and we'll kind of do a circle. You're first, Izzy. So what was something that God revealed to you at Life?
Something
You
God.
all had these questions before.
Yeah,
so
but
don't act surprised.
Okay, I can't think though. Okay. I'd say something God revealed to me at Life was just being able to dig deeper into the Bible and being able to actually have peace and sit down and be able to actually read through it instead of with nowadays in school, you're going oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I have to do everything. And it was just amazing being able to finally be able to sit down and be I can actually read the Bible and start to understand it and analyze it. I said that right? Okay. Analyze it. Thank you. And it was just really great being able to just read it and get to actually learn God's word and actually be able to start like just looking through it, and just felt amazing.
For me, he revealed that I needed to let go of some things in my life. And so once I did that, it was like a humongous weight lifted off my shoulders. And just being still in his presence, I learned how to hear his voice. And that was just really cool.
Mine's kind of similar to Chloe's, but there were a lot of things that I thought were really, really important in my life. And once I got there, it was kind of like God revealed to me that those were like really insignificant in the grand scheme of things. And so there was just like little things that I just thought were so important and were like life or death, but they really weren't. And so he kind of was like, you need to let go of these things in order to focus on me more. And so after doing that, like Chloe kind of said, I had a really big weight lifted off my shoulders.
I think God revealed to me like the power of prayer and how you can just do it anytime and anywhere, and he will listen and hear you. We had one night where we just spent a long time like praying, and it was very powerful. I just think it was just so great. Also, another thing was I've always wanted to be a missionary, but then I think God revealed to me at Life that I belong in missions and that I'm going to go on mission trips when I'm older.
When I went there, I already knew that God gives us all talents, but when I went to a seminar, I learned that God gives us these talents so we can use them to bless others and show them his love, and that hit me really hard.
I think God revealed to me that I've just been blessed with like amazing friends, and that I like shouldn't take them for granted. And also, just like, I don't know, reading my Bible a lot more than I did before, and being consistent with prayer and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So I have two things for me. The main one was the importance of getting vulnerable with like other people and just having those hard and uncomfortable and scary conversations, and how that's like the only way to really find healing and that peace that God has for us. So just learning and like recognizing that I have to take those steps. And then also the importance of asking God questions in prayer, just like, how do I help this person? And then waiting and listening and not trying to like figure it out on my own, and just waiting for God to have that answer, sitting in that silence to hear him.
I would say God revealed to me his like undying love for me, and his grace and forgiveness and compassion, all of these things that I'd kind of not really forgotten, but like, I don't know, not ignored, but like just kind of pushed to the side and been like, no, like that's not as much as it actually is. So he kind of revealed to me that he loves me a lot more than I could ever understand.
All right, what is going to be different in your life now as a result of Life, now that we're home?
I feel like after Life, because it's been a couple weeks now, I've felt a lot closer to God, and I felt I've been like praying more, and I've been reading my Bible more, and I felt a lot of peace and just like joy from like, I don't know. My words are failing me now. I've just felt a lot of peace and joy, and I've been like in the Word more and showing God's love more in other ways, and I think that's how my life is going to be changed, and has and will be.
I'm trying to think of how to like word all of this.
Exactly.
It's kind of hard. Okay. Well,
it's a very forgiving audience.
Being comfortable praying for people, like if I see someone and it looks like they're having a hard time, like just being like, hey, can I pray for you? And like having the confidence to do that, and confidence in the Lord that that's gonna like help that person through the day. And also just like making more time to fellowship with like teens that are Christians, and like making that an important part of my schedule, because like Life really helped me, and just recognizing that like involving Jesus in friend groups is super important. I don't know if I said that the right way, but just like everyday life, teen life, and then Jesus in that is really good and it's helpful.
Okay. Probably, like I said before, just like reading my Bible more. That's definitely, I've been doing that a lot more since I got back from life. And the more I read, the more I like enjoy it and look forward to it. So I think that's definitely something cool that I got out of life. And that's all I can think of at the moment.
I think I am looking for more ways to show how I can use my talents to bless others than I did before.
I think I've been seeing things differently because the whole theme of life, Jesus is greater than everything, that like really stood out to me. And I just, now after life, that's just, it's so like true. And it's really everywhere that Jesus is greater than my problems and all the problems. And I think that's the main thing.
Mine's similar to Avery's as well because like anytime I have like a small and insignificant problem, I like remember, oh, Jesus is so much greater than this. Like there's really no point in me like worrying so much about this and having it take up so much of my time. But I've also started to pray for other people more and just be more comfortable in that. Like Elena was saying, like prayer is so powerful and important, and so I'm really glad that I've become more comfortable with it after life.
For me, it was just like hearing God's voice, and like during life there was like a worship session that we did, and I went with someone else. We were worshiping. We saw this guy next to us who was struggling, and like I just heard God's voice saying, "Go over, talk to him, and like go pray over him." So we did, and he was so grateful, and I still don't know what's going on in that person's life, but like he was so grateful for the prayer, and I've just been doing that to more and more people and hearing his voice more and more.
I'd say it's helped, after going to life, it's helped me to be able to share the gospel more, because I'd go to friends or something and be like, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I won't talk about it unless you don't want me to and stuff. But now it's I'm more open with being able to talk about the gospel and about music and everything like Ava Violinas. It's a lot easier now to go up to and be like, can I pray for you? And just I feel like I need to pray for you. Something's telling me I need to pray for you. And just being able to be more comfortable with talking about God's word and everything.
There was one night that the message was really around confession, and some of our youth had some tough moments, some things they wanted to wrestle with, and the leaders, were around them. But what was really amazing, and kind of echoing what Chloe said, is that the youth came around them and prayed with them and sat with them, and some of these kids are crying, and some of these kids are distraught, just dealing with this or even trying to talk about it. And to me, that was amazing, and the fact that, us leaders were like, yeah, we can be there, and we want to be there, but their peers coming up around them and praying with them and talking to them, and, going back to the room, when we went back to the discussion room, it took us a long time to get back to the discussion room because they were all grouping up, so I thought that was really cool.
Now you get to hear some of my favorite things that happened at life. Get down. So a lot of our kids that went are not Mountain View kids. They come to youth group. They don't come on Sundays. So when we got to life, we realized these kids don't know each other. Not very well, not deeply. And so for me, seeing our kids reach out to each other and talk and not be kind of stepping out of their groups and being comfortable talking with other people and even talking to other churches, especially, I think we all can agree that Caleb Owens, everyone knew his name. Everyone knew Caleb. But these kids, they just went out. They weren't afraid to talk to strangers. And we had a lot of discussions in elevators. Nebraska, Ohio, yeah. our kids just reached out and they talked and got to know each other, and just seeing, especially our group, connecting and being vulnerable and sharing with each other, for me was really special. And then, so I have three things. So the second thing is, so our kids, so our Mountain View small group time at the end of every night, we had really great discussions. And then after, these kids went and talked to Brian for hours. Like, our kids are hungry for the word. They are hungry for truth. They have questions. And so it was so fun to see our kids really bonding with Brian. And it was good, but the other half of that was, so there was a curfew. There was a curfew at midnight. You had to be in your room by midnight.
It was a suggestion.
It was not a suggestion. It was a rule. No. So every night I would hear people outside. And I was good. I kicked all the girls out of my room. We would always play games, get out, go to your room. But then I would hear voices. And throughout the week, it just got louder and bigger and bigger. And I'd open the door, and there's Brian with all these kids leading great discussions. But it's 12:15. It was 1:30. They didn't care. They just sat out, and he was doing handwriting analysis for all the kids. And some kids were in tears. It was pretty funny. Everyone wanted to do it except for Clinton and me. But just these kids, they wanted to hang out with him, and especially because our kids, a lot of them don't come to Mountain View. So it was just so fun to see our kids bonding with our pastor and enjoying time with him, and even if it was after curfew. But so hands down, my favorite part of the whole trip, the first night in session, the main speaker said affirmation, just said that word, and I got thinking like, oh, okay. So as a staff, we just did this like team building thing. I don't know what to call it, but we affirmed each other. Everyone affirmed everybody. And it was so powerful, and like, I think it really bonded us together as a staff. And so I thought, what if all of our kids throughout the whole week, every single person got affirmed by someone? And at first I was like, okay, this probably isn't gonna go over very well. It's gonna be awkward. Like, we just need 10 of them tonight, the first night. So I tell the kids, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna end every night like this. We're gonna affirm each other, and all you can say back is, thank you. You can't say anything else. And again, I thought it was gonna be like pulling teeth out, trying to get these kids to talk. They would not stop. I think we had like 20 or 25 the first night alone. And so we had 60 people to get through for 5 days, and it was not difficult to get through it. These kids, these teens, they're not kids. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just like, your hair is really pretty, It was.
Wait, that's what they said about me. So.
My gosh. But these students went really deep in saying, this is what I see God doing in your life, and I'm going to affirm that is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you need to follow the Lord. Or, the Lord has given you this talent, and this is how I see you use it. It was not simple things. And every single person got affirmed, some more than once. It was just amazing. And even we're like, hey, let's be done. Oh, wait, I have one more. I think as leaders, we want our kids to know the Lord, have a relationship with the Lord. That's why we're here. And that is so special when we see that they have a personal relationship with the Lord. But when they can go and say, I see God in you, that's like so much deeper. And I think I cried every night. It was, I couldn't have asked for anything more. Like, these kids saw Jesus in each other, and they affirmed the leaders. Hands down, best part of life by far, just seeing our kids love each other and be vulnerable. And a lot of our kids didn't know each other. So I don't know you very well, but I see God doing this in you. Are you kidding? Like, what is better than that? It was incredible. I am so thankful. I'm so proud of our kids. Again, there was a lot of waiting. Like, we traveled with Smoky Point. We had to get 78 people the first time, 81 on the way back. through the airport. It wasn't like a quick, here are your tickets, give us your bags. No, it took a long time, especially on the way back. And then even checking into our rooms, I had 16 rooms to check in. They had to charge each one separately, and everything was separate. So it took forever. But our kids did great. Like, they were excited. One day we had a service project. And 3 years ago, our service project, we killed it. We went to this church and completely redid their landscaping, painted rooms, went through classrooms. This time it was a little bit disappointing because we were like, let's go, let's work hard, get sweaty. Well, we were already sweaty, it was Florida, but get extra dirty and sweaty. And we get there, they're like, we're gonna pack bags for teachers, which is great, but there were 200 kids and we packed 40 bags. 42. And it was, for me, I was really disappointed. I know our kids were disappointed. But if you think about it more, a lot of our kids are going into education. And so just that simple, like, let's write a note for a teacher. Yes, we're not building beds like some other groups did, but we're still doing it, and God's using it. And some of our kids were disappointed, but they didn't take away, like, this sucked. No, they went and said, okay, God's going to use this. And so just seeing our kids have a deep relationship with the Lord, and again, there's nothing better than that. So I am so proud of our kids. The ones on stage, the ones that are over here, the ones that aren't not here.
A little less for the ones that aren't here.
A little bit.
A little bit less, yeah.
No, our kids did great, and like Lynn said, you should be proud of them. They showed the hotel staff, the life staff, each other. They were an example of Jesus. And not everyone was, but so our kids, they didn't go with the status quo. They stood up for what was right, and so I'm very thankful for our kids and so proud of them. And it was hands down, our kids loving each other was the best part. But we wanted to say thank you to you guys. We would not have been able to go without you, without your financial support, without your support prepping for life, your prayer while we were there. We desperately needed it, and we felt covered by Mountain View in prayer, and so we are so thankful. So please know your money, if you donated, your prayers, it went to a good cause. And these kids are closer with the Lord because of it. So thank you so much. Thank you for staying. Thank you for coming. Does anyone want to say anything else? No? Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Thanks for staying.
Let's pray real quick. Dear Father, it's so great to celebrate what you have done through all of us, through the people in this room and through our church and then through these youth. Father, just that a week in Florida changed lives for all of us. And Father, I just pray that we don't forget those lessons that we learned, that we don't lose those relationships that we built and the bonding that went with it. And Father, just that as members of this church, that we would continue to take what we learned and maybe make this a stronger church, make this community stronger, and bring Florida back here to home. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, go and talk with these kids out in the foyer, especially the ones who did not come up. They have things to say, so ask them questions. Go and have a great week. Thank you, guys.